is use the cigarette butts with the lab table. Can't do that. Okay. Can I just use the use the powdery specimen on the lab table? Alright, so what we need to do first is look around. Mortar and pestle, oil wick burner, a simple but effective source of immediate heat for laboratory work. It is fueled by whale oil, which has been highly refined so that it burns at a high heat and does not smell fishy. I can't look at the test tube. Okay. A pocket of Swan Vestas. A safety match for choice to HM the Queen. Sulfuric acid, nitric acid, zinc, silver nitrate, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, calcium carbonate, sulfur, silver nitrate. Okay, what we need to do is use this in the test tube. Adding sulfuric acid to the test tube. Didn't know that I chose that. Room temperature is not sufficient for this test to react properly. Nothing of interest here. How do I use this then? The use goes in here. That cannot be opened. Move. Pick it up. The music in this game sounds like a funeral. Kinda. Has that morose tone to it. So how do I turn the freaking thing on? Whenever I push use, oh, it opens the inventory, but I just used them. Right. Okay. I'm a dummy. And now we use the powdery specimen in the red tube. Adding zinc. I thought I was adding the powder. I do love the animation. A black mirrored surface forms. This indicates the presence of arsenic. I didn't want to use it with the chemicals, I wanted to use the flour with the lab tip. Ah, now we're on the other side. We got the microscope here. High quality compound double lens microscope. Based on Galileo's design and manufactured in Amsterdam in 1878. Already 10 years old. This instrument is of the type commonly used by medical students and experimental scientists. A flask, another burner, pen, paper, stuff. Alright, use the matches. Again, as always. We use the flower in the microscope. Determining cause of petal discoloration. The petal is artificially dyed. Can we also use it in here? Adding nitric acid to warm water bath. Adding silver nitrate. Adding ground flower petal to solution. A yellow precipitate indicates iodine. The dye used must have an iodine base.
Fascinating.
Specimen was extracted from the wool of the Serrated. The example is located in the point of where there is not enough of the substance to identify by eye, but distinctly a camphor and envelope is sufficient to hold. Okay. In addition to common soap, salt of tartar, and camphor, analysis reveals trace amounts of powdered highly toxic arsenic. Combination suggests the Baker's arsenical soap, a common preservative compound. Analysis of the flower petal has determined that the substance used to color the petals is an industrial cleaning agent with an iodine base. Can we use the perfume bottle with the chemicals? Not the chemicals. Not the chemicals. Lab. Nope. How about the analysis on the iron bar? Use cigarette butts with the lab table. Use the powder again on the table. Maybe we can find something else about it. Just don't know how, but you know. It is not a good idea to heat an empty tube. Gotta be so meticulous with this. I'm sure it's the same results as before. Chemical reaction has caused a dark mirrored film to form on the cooler upper portion of the tube. This reaction is indicative of arsenic. Very, very, very fascinating.
Can't do that.
Okay. Before explosion. Did your study of this morning's newspaper provide anything that might be helpful to us, Watson?
There was nothing relevant in the scandalous rag, Holmes.
Have you decided to wear your bowler hat for this investigation, Watson?
As always, Holmes. I feel positively undressed without it.
This case begins to look more complicated than it first appeared.
Those are discouraging words indeed, Holmes. I thought you might have solved that case in a trice,
but you seem as confused as myself.
I'm not that confused. It's just difficult.
Maybe now I need to go back to Lestrade. It's time we made a move, Watson.
But I just sat down. No, carry on, Holmes. I'll follow your lead. I just sat down and now we are going out again. God. I'm fat. Don't you get it?
Hello again, Mr. Rigby. Still well, I trust.
Can't complain, Mr. Holmes, and if I did, who would listen?
Too true. There's so little kindness in the world. Good day to you. Are the rest of your lads available, Wiggins?
This is ready, sir. Tell me what you need and I'll pass it on. There's 8 of them who's willing to work, so it'll cost 8 bob a day plus the usual reward.
Not too bad.
Back to the alley we go. Alrighty, Lestrade, let's point out that your theory is incorrect. Or not. Well, somewhere else then. Since we're done here. Sarah Caraway's flat. Good place to start. Well, quite the place. The crossbar is sturdy and topped with enough coal dust to indicate that it has not been removed any time recently. This is an old and shapeless classic brolly, which has clearly survived a number of seasons. The blue muslin fabric is faded and it is dry despite the wet weather outside. There's a slight bulge in the fabric near the tip. A cheap reproduction of Gainsborough's stunning portrait of the Duchess of Devonshire, nicknamed the Stolen Duchess since the daring theft of the original from a Bond Street gallery in 1876. I'd say that the wallpaper has seen better days. A standard 2-drawer dresser filled with cheap cotton underclothes, stockings, and jumpers. A serviceable typical China teapot. 100 just like it are sold every day in Wapping. Or maybe it's Wapping. A capacious wicker basket of type manufactured in Singapore and sold in nearly every street market in the metropolis. This one contains a conventional assortment of dirty laundry. Among the sheets, towels, and female undergarments is a man's orange-colored rugby sweater. You don't say. A man's sweater is buried deep in a pile of dirty laundry. A man's rugby sweater with the colours and insignia of a Kensington Rugby Club. The back of the collar is heavily stained with the macassar oil and a few black hairs are embedded in the fibers of the wool. Hey, those are the same stain and hair that we saw on the door. So no need to pick up the hairs and the oil, apparently. The color and smell of the contents suggest the Darjeeling family of teas brewed in the last 24 hours. Okay, amazing, Holmes. Oh, you could draw good luck from an action that's supposed to yield its opposite. Thank heaven you're not so superstitious. A tiny brass key. It's too small for most door locks. It most likely opens something smaller like a drawer or a jewelry box. I guess that's all we can take from here. So let's be polite and close the teapot. No need to be animals in here. Off we go, Watson. Back to the theater. Everybody having a good time? Scotland Yard has been uncharacteristically efficient, Holmes. It appears that they've already moved the body to the morgue. Also, I like that they have the outlines, which they never did. A rough outline of the murder victim drawn in chalk by Scotland Yard for reference in its investigation of the murder site. The body itself and any personal effects have presumably been sent to the morgue. I think I am. I hope you are. The door is locked. Great. Use the door. Can't do that. Oh, there you go. We're gonna get back in there. Can't do that. I was hoping to pry it open.
Maybe I could use the key. Can't do that. Oh yeah, because it's not a door key.
Well, this is a problem. I need to get back in there. Open the drawers. Oh, down. There's the perfumery and the rugby club. I think I'll go to the Kensington Field first. I can't do anything with the ladder. It's not a usable object. Otherwise, I would have done it in the first place, Gabriel. I mean, that's why I keep using the look. Because once you can look at something, you can do something with it. A hulking backfield player covered with dirt and grass stains bleeds profusely from his nose and mouth. He appears to have been recently separated from his two front teeth, and his nose is grotesquely situated on one side of his face. That's rugby for you. What seemed at first glance to be an enormous anemic pig's bladder turns out to be a slightly deflated rugby ball.
Jenkins, watch what you're doing, but what you're about, man. Your tackling technique betrays no knowledge of the sport.
Though it's been years since I stepped out onto a rugby pitch, Holmes, that group looks as a sorry lot to me. In addition to ladling water for parched players, the lad is probably the team's dog's body and possibly even a mascot of sorts. He often glances admiringly at the ruggers, as he's a happy boy. A handsome young couple evaluates the talent of this year's crop of hopeful ruggers trying to make the Kensington Cup. A stiff-legged large man stares and frequently shouts at the tangle of men pushing each other up and down the field. The man's expression shows him impatience and a touch of frustrated anger, or perhaps cruelty. Excuse me, young man. Pretty much what he said. Has Watson done anything useful so far? He's pretty much like if you need some advice, he's there to give it. I suppose the coach doesn't pay you very well for all your work. Here's an extra shilling for taking the time to talk to us.
I don't want no wages, Gov. I like your bit of tea. I'm going to be a 3/4 when I grow up.
Admirable.
Yeah, boy. Have you ever seen a young woman named Sarah Caraway watching the practices? I don't think I've ever heard that name. But then my duties keep me very busy, and the players don't talk to me much.
And yet you admire them for reasons. Your Carrot Club appears to have excellent athletic skills. I suspect that your guidance will shape them up sharply into a good team.
Not with you hanging on my shoulder. I've got 50 blokes that don't know their left foot from their right.
A talented group of muscular lads. The makings of a fine team, if I'm any judge.
If you knew anything about rugged golf, you'd know that this size don't signify. Give me midgets with a heart and a knowledge of the game, and we do our own. I've got over 30 shirkers scattered over this field. With you pestering me, I'd never beat them either shape.
I need to speak with one of your players.
Well then, when they've left off practicing, you can speak with any of them, for as long as you like. If you want to watch, stand with those people over there and stay out of the way.
What a charming man. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm assisting the police in the investigation of a serious crime. I must speak with a member of your team.
Assistant, eh? I didn't know the coppers needed any assistance. You're meddling, more like. No, stop meddling with me and my team. We got work to do.
This is Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the world's greatest consulting detective, working with Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard.
Get off! I can see you will not leave me alone until I've satisfied you. Name your man and I'll call him out.
I don't know the man's name.
Don't know his name? Off with you both. If you can't give me a name, I'll deliver your man, but until then, stop wasting my time.
Got a good point. We never found out the man's name. That's how I talk. How did you know, Spider? Oh, you know. You're an inspiration to my voice acting.
Good day, gentlemen. My name is Belle. If you require any assistance, please do not hesitate to ask.
A plainly handsome girl is sweeping the floor. She sneaks furtive glances at her employer, Belle. Her fearful demeanor is strongly reminiscent of an abused domestic servant. Cinderella? Is that you? Next is his most extravagant entry in silken organdy, virtually guaranteed to attract the newest crop of debutantes as moths to a flame. A wide variety of scents designed to confound the senses in the pursuit of love. Two of the season's woolen winter coats are on display. The fashion-conscious may notice that this season's garments are not particularly distinguishable from last season's. The distinctive golden bottle of love promises much more than it can possibly deliver. It is, however, prohibitively expensive, which makes up for any inadequacies in the product. Inadequacies. Words. Use words. This case contains many bottles of specialty perfumes and accessories. It also serves as the point of sale. The placard reads, Poi de vie. Pois de vie. La Côte d'Azur. La mort. Fleur de lys. And Eau de Saint. Ah, that's the one that we need. The case contains a number of crafted hand-blown bottles in brilliant blue gas. The obvious quality of the bottle perhaps conceals the less than obvious quality of the scent. I mean, if it looks good, it's gotta be good, but doesn't guarantee the goodness. The proprietor is a stern-looking woman, cordial no effort more than personality. She frequently glances at the cleaning girl who tidies the floor to make sure she is still hard at work.
Right.
I'm looking for a young man who purchased some perfume from you recently.
I may be able to help you. What scent did he purchase?
Eau de Saint.
Ah, that is a very popular scent. Of the quality perfumes, it has the most modest price. What does this young man look like?
He wears copious amounts of macassar oil in his hair.
Is he tall or short?
He is very tall, taller than myself.
Is he thin or stout?
I am as yet unsure of his build.
Can you tell me the color of his hair?
He has black hair.
I do recall a young man like that one you describe. He wore a striped jersey with a number on it. I remember because when I remarked on it, he said he played rugby at a field near here. I'm afraid I don't recall the number.
Right.
Hey, 2 Kilo! I always like the writing in this game, not quite Victorian in some places, but close enough. Close enough. I'm looking for a certain young man who purchased perfume from this shop recently.
Beg your pardon, sir. My mistress don't permit me to converse with clients. If she sees me talking to you, I'm sacked for certain.
Maybe we can use a diversion. Do you perceive any detail in this room that might lead us in a new direction? I regret that I have no views that deserve consideration, Holmes. I'm sure the cleaning girl would give us more insight than the, lady.
Would you recommend the perfume for me? Beg pardon, sir, my missus...
I'm still looking for a certain young man who purchased perfume from the shop recently.
Beg pardon, sir, my...
I would like to purchase some perfume.
Very good, sir. Do you have a scent in mind?
Yes, I know the name.
And what is the name?
Pois de vie.
That would be £2, 3 shillings. Please come again.
Right, we got some perfume.
Move her elsewhere.
Okay, there. Cannot be moved.
I do remember that I need to somehow get Belle to go into the back room over there. I don't remember how. Thinking of maybe finding out like a name of a weird perfume. Or a rare perfume. So she will have to go into the back room to look for it. Then we can talk to the cleaning girl. I'm not really sure if that's the case, but it's kind of what I remember. Going so high that I don't even sound anymore. No more, don't make any sound. Second to last cabinet from right looked empty. Might only be in the back room. Second from right, rather. Okay. I'll check it out. I had an idea for this area again. The bookshelf. Simple wooden shelf holds a half-dozen assorted two-penny novels and a Holy Bible. Shelf area is messy. Books are open, spines on 1 or 2 titles are broken. Yada yada yada. Can we move? Can we pick up? I just had a feeling that there might be something that I missed here. Right! The jersey. The rugby sweater. Doesn't have a number. Right. So back. Back to the perfumery. Like Jay said before, hi-yo Watson, away!
Here again, if you need any help deciding what you want, I would be most happy to assist you.
So which one was it that's empty? La Côte d'Azur. Okay. Azure Coast. I would like to purchase some perfume.
Very good, sir. Do you have a scent in mind?
Yes, I know the name.
And what is the name?
La Côte d'Azur.
I don't have any La Côte d'Azur here in the front. Let me go into the back and get some from my stock. I'll be back in a moment.
Now we talk to her. I'm looking for a certain young man who purchased perfume from this shop recently.
I remember the man you spoke to my mistress about. It's like my mistress said he was a rugby player. I don't remember his number either, but I can tell you he smokes senior service cigarettes. I know because he dropped an empty packet on the floor right in front of me as I was sweeping. She's coming. Please don't let her see me talking to you or I'll get the back of your hand when you're gone. Here it is. I really must speak to my assistant about keeping those in the display cases.
Great, now we got 2 perfume spots. What a waste of money. We're in Derry now investigating the case of a serrated kid's arm. Yeah. Anybody seen a clown?
Stand your oath. Can you never not even run down the field without falling on your face? There your feet, lad.
Do you know a woman by the name of Sarah Caraway?
Never heard the name. This investigation involves a female, does it? I might have known. Well, none of my boys can know aught about it then.
Of course, they don't fool around with the ladies. I still don't know the man's name, but I can describe him.
You're trying my patience, Mr. Holmes. Ask my boys what happens when I run out of patience. Give me a name and I'll help you. Otherwise, take off.
Do you know anything about this sport, Watson? In my younger days, I had modest success and a wonderful time playing with the Blackheath football club. It's difficult to tell whether or not these lads are enjoying themselves. Do you see anything of import, Watson?
Another thing, though my powers of prediction are pathetically meager when compared to yours.
Why don't you suck Sherlock's knob then? Jeez. I know that Watson admires Sherlock's determination skills, but jeez. Where could we find more information about this man? I mean, we know what cigarettes he smokes. Maybe if we talk to Bell again? Although I highly doubt it. Is he going to give us any more insight? Yep.
I have no idea.
Excuse me. Certainly looking for a player. Not the player, but the player. What does the setup button do? That's just for options. You know, text, sound. The morgue. Let's go to the morgue.
Yeah, oh, set up, Ed.
Yep. Sit up. Ain't it? Good day, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson. You'd like to look at the body, I expect? I'll be with you in a moment. Please look around if you wish. Shallow but lethal incisions across this female victim's throat appear to have been made with a surgeon's scalpel or street eraser. Quite the face. This unfortunate young woman bled to death from a deep stab wounds inflicted in her throat and upper chest. The fatal blade may have resembled the one reputed, but to be wielded by Jack the Ripper. A tray of the medical examiner's tools, scalpels, clamps, needles, and sutures. A large, open-faced man in his late 40s. Though his work seems macabre and perhaps disgusting to the layman, to him it is a passion. He exudes an aura of competence and discipline. Ah, Gregson. The inspector, one of Scotland Yard's most experienced and dedicated officers, seems preoccupied with a case of his own. Good old Gregson. Even concealed by a sheet, that poor Sarah's body is a shambles. Let's see what Gregson is up to. Oh, it's you, Holmes. Hello, Inspector. Yes, Holmes. What can I do for you? Apparently nothing. Just saying hello. Has Miss Sarah Caraway's body arrived here yet? Yes, I was just filling out some of the paperwork. May I see the personal items that the Inspector Lestrade sent with the body? That's not standard procedure, Mr. Holmes. But I suppose there'd be no harm in showing them to you. And blah 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 that I didn't get to read because you had suddenly decided to move. Rude. There's the facial powder, a small compact tin of Morley's number 8 facial talc with a cotton wool applicator. Large iron key of the type usually associated with the locks of iron gates or sturdy external doors. A delicate gold chain into which is attached a semi-precious violet stone. It appears to be an amethyst and perhaps indicates that the victim was born between January 20th and February 18th. A handsome crimson handkerchief made of Japanese silk. Can I pick up the key? I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes, but I can't allow you to take anything without proper authorization. Darn it. I need that stuff. Have you learned anything more of the circumstances surrounding Miss Caraway's death? Not really, Mr. Holmes. I did discover a trace quantity of a curious powdery substance on her coat. It doesn't look like cosmetic powder. My laboratory assistant won't be in until tomorrow, so it hasn't been analyzed. Would you like to see a sample of it? Indeed, I would. Ah yes, this looks to be just like the specimen I removed from the body at the murder scene. My analysis showed it to be some sort of arsenic compound mixed with soap. That's a peculiar combination. I can tell you that arsenic had nothing to do with the cause of death. Thank you, Doctor. I'm finished with these effects for now, thank you. Very good, Mr. Holmes. You may view them again whenever you like. I won't send them over to the yard for a day or two. wonder how we're gonna get a permission to get any of those items. What a remarkable odor. Watson, some professional guidance, please. Can the stink of garbolic acid be harmful to one's health? Not really, Holmes. This area must be disinfected regularly. Someone sloshes it everywhere several times a day. You'll become accustomed to the smell in a moment or two. How's you, Holmes? Inspector, could you authorize the release of some of the items from the Sarah Caraway case? The Caraway case? Who's investigated that one, Holmes? Inspector Lestrade was doing some of the preliminary work. Oh, you mean the new Ripper case? Lestrade always gets the glamour in assignments. I get what falls off his plate. I'm here on a simple suicide. 3 witnesses saw this woman leap off London Bridge a week ago. Clearly a suicide. I'm just tying up the loose ends. Excuse me, Inspector, concerning those Caraway items? Oh, yes, sorry. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you, Mr. Holmes. Only Lestrade can release that evidence. I left him an hour ago at the yard. You might still find him there. I must warn you, though, that security procedures have tightened up some. Tell them I sent you, and you should have no trouble. Good to know. Let's get out of here.
I need that key. I need that key.
Nice of them to put the image of a police bob to show that that's the Scotland Yard. An apparently blind vendor. Behind these walls are the headquarters of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Metropolitan Police, popularly known as the Scotland Yard. Here work some, if not all, of the best criminal investigators in the world. Kind of a high statement there. That's saying that they're the best in the world, with Sherlock Holmes standing outside. Ever alert, ever vigilant, a constable stands at his post. Since 1884, when a shocking terrorist bombing shook headquarters, the constable has guarded the entry to the yard. Augie the apple seller has worked this stall for more than a decade. He is a bottomless, though expensive sort of confidential information concerning police business. The constabulary tolerates his presence because he is not above paying both sides of the street. Many times the police have nabbed their man because of one of Augie's tips. So he's a snitch. I mean, an information booth. Hello, Augie, in the pink and so on. Oh, well, Mr. Holmes. Lovely sport of autumn weather we're having. Good day, Constable. I must speak with this Inspector Lestrade.
Sorry, sir. What with all the recent troubles, we've had to restrict access to the building. Authorized personnel only, I'm afraid.
But this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the famous consulting detective.
Oh, so you may, sir. No exceptions. So please move on.
Ah, yes. Inspector Gregson informed us of recent changes in security procedures, but I assure you, Constable, he has given us permission to enter.
That is may be, sir, but I take my orders from Chief Inspector Palmer himself, and they are that no one is to pass without proper authorization. You understand, sir?
Understood. Just doing your job. I need to get in.
Right.
Does it not seem to you, Watson, that English municipal architecture is one of the most depressing art forms known to man? Judging from this building, Holmes, I would say you have a case. And stop burping me. Shall we try to raise Lestrade, Watson? Carry on, Holmes. Well, we tried. Didn't work. Batman vs. Sherlock Holmes. Epic rap battles of history was funny. Some of their stuff was fun. Batman vs. Sherlock Holmes is one of my favorites. Of epic rap battles of history. Let's go see Gregson again, see if we can say something else that we couldn't get in. Getting in the yard. Oi, Gregson.
Hey, it's you, Holmes.
I regret to inform you, Inspector, that your name alone is insufficient for purposes of circumventing the yard's security procedures.
What? Well, for the come along, Holmes, and we'll get this sorted immediately. Well, come along, Mr. Holmes. You too, Dr. Watson. I need some papers from the yard anyway. We'll get you into the sea Lestrade, and then I will return here. This should only take a moment, Holmes.
What seems to be the problem here, Constable?
No problem, sir. Truth is, it's been pretty quiet.
Right, eh?
If you'd like to keep it that way, Constable, then I suggest you allow Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson to enter immediately. What, sir? By your orders,
I'm well aware of your orders, Constable. Allow them entrance on my authority. I'll assume responsibility for Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Very well, sir. Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, you may consider yourself authorized personnel. You may enter whenever you wish.
Much obliged, Constable, and thank you, Inspector.
Think nothing of it, Holmes. We live to serve. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some matters to attend to.
I wonder if we can talk to the Constable. Good day, Constable.
It is indeed, Mr. Holmes.
We're in the Scotland Yard. Duty officer. Twice decorated for conspicuous bravery during the Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, Sergeant Jeremy Duncan has been recently confined to a desk since his war wounds began to rebel. He wears a replica of his Victoria Cross in his lapel. He has the regal bearing befitting of a duty officer. With an authoritative presence and a voice accustomed to command, he handles his duties efficiently and without resistance. Police procedure is not all excitement and bringing criminals to the bar of justice. Constables in the bullpen plod along unrecognized and unappreciated, keeping the important records of the Metropolitan Police up to date. The unmentioned heroes, that's what they are. A huge oak wood desk. From here, the duty officer assigns cases to constables and inspectors alike. The duty officer is not unlike a king of the police precinct, and this desk is his throne. Good day, Sergeant Duncan. I wish to speak to Inspector Lestrade.
So would half the lads in Dartmoor prison, Mr. Holmes. He's terrible busy at the moment. What with all this repair business? He left word not to be disturbed. Perhaps I can take a message?
I need to speak with him myself.
I dare not disturb him, Mr. Holmes. He left orders. Special light.
Son of a... How hard it is to get frigging a government salmon pain in the pain The inspector is hip-deep in paperwork, the never-ending scourge of a policeman's duty. He's oblivious to everything else around him. This is actually an easy puzzle. I won't spoil it. There are certain crimes which are better left to established police procedure, Watson.
I assume you're referring to the mountain of paperwork these men are generating, Holmes.
I am indeed. Well, Watson, we could stand here waiting for our hair to turn grey before the inspector gets a free moment. Do you have a suggestion?
Didn't I notice your friend, the apple seller, just outside?
He knows the Byzantine workings of the yard like the back of his hand.
So you told me.
Thank you, Watson.
That's a good idea.
Hello, Augie. I need your advice on a matter concerning Scotland Yard.
Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson. What can I do for ya?
I can't get the Sergeant Duncan to fetch Lestrade for me. Do you have a suggestion?
I just might be able to help if the price were right.
I'm not in the habit of paying your exorbitant prices, Augie.
Well, we seem to be at an impasse.
What do you say, Watson? Shall I grass on Augie?
Why not, Holmes?
Augie, tell me about Sergeant Duncan or I'll expose you against the police.
Whatever you're on about, Mr. Holmes.
You're not blind, Augie. You're shamming for sympathy. That's marvelous for your business, I shouldn't wonder. I've seen the way your eyes move behind your glasses, and the way you arrange your apples on the cart, unblemished side out, requires sight. You never feel for the size of a coin or bite it to test its metal. You hawk your wares more loudly when a well-dressed couple walks past, and not at all when a beggar rambles by. I've seen you accurately box the ears of a stealthy street urchin trying to steal an apple. And just a moment ago you addressed a greeting to Dr. Watson. There's no way you could have known he was here.
Enough, Mr. Holmes. Let's just keep this amongst ourselves, shall we? Live and let live, eh? I'll tell you this about Duncan.
The way that the brute's heart is through a compliment. The man is a fool for flattery.
Susceptible as a child to a kind word, he is.
Thank you, Augie.
That was easy.
But see how useful Watson is? You just ask him. And he might give you advice. Good day, Sergeant Duncan. Is the inspector available?
You're still drowning in paperwork, Mr. Holmes. You could leave a message if you wish.
Thank you. I'm sure an officer as distinguished as yourself and a winner of the VC on top of it knows when to supersede such an order on his own authority. Perhaps I could get him down here for just a moment.
Inspector Lestrade, please report to the duties officer's desk immediately. What is it, Duncan? This had better be important. It is, Inspector. Here's Mr. Holmes to see you.
The music sounds like we're on an epic space adventure or something. Hello, Inspector. I'm glad we found you in. I would like you to release some items from the Carraway murder investigation.
What do you mean by some items?
I would like to examine some of the Sarah Carraway's personal effects which you sent to the morgue. If you don't mind, I'll take some of them to further my own investigation.
Sarah Carraway? Oh, you mean the Ripper's latest victim?
That's an open and shut case as far as I'm concerned. But I know your methods by now, and I'm sure you won't be satisfied until you beat this case into the ground. Sergeant Duncan will write you a pass that you can give to the medical examiner at the morgue. If he's finished with the woman's effects, they're yours.
Thank you, Inspector. Inspector Lestrade has authorized my request to examine the Caraway woman's effects at the morgue. May I have a pass, please?
I heard him, Mr. Holmes. I have it right here.
Hey, we can get to the morgue and get some stuff. Yay.
Certainly doesn't beat the police music in Gabriel Knight. I mean, that is epic music right there. I do like it. I also like them. Both are like,
It is a fine day to be going investigating a murder, is it not? Oh yes, it is. So posh.
I should stream Gabriel Knight at some point. Give me items.